Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome. My name is Sunshine Day, and it is my absolute joy to welcome you to our conversation and meditation. This half an hour, this 30 minutes is geared toward uh, those in recovery. But you do not have to be in recovery in order to benefit from the discussion and the tools of our time together. As a matter of fact, I believe that it has its benefits for all. And, people ask me, why are you doing this? And I tell them because I see a world where clean and sober people are living their best life and loving it. And so what I do is I provide spiritual tools and loving support for personal transformation. I am, if you will, a guide to help folks uncover and discover a personal presence and power, this indwelling power and presence that is actually the solution to all of our daily living problems, and to have us see life just a little bit differently. And so welcome to December. In the month of December, the title for our monthly work is Bliss. And you might ask, well, why did you choose Bliss? Especially now during our time of COVID. Is that really possible? Is it really possible that we can experience bliss and joy during these times? And so in the month of December, there are lots of holidays, right? As I look at my calendar, we have Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa. We also have winter solstice. And, this time of year is usually filled with holiday cheer. And what I want you to know is that this time of year is only filled with holiday cheer because people talk about it and they say so. But in actuality, cheer, bliss, joy, that is actually our natural state. And so this month, what I am embarking upon, and as I will each and every month after that, is actually talking about a specific theme. And it's from my book, Begin Within. And it's a playbook for living your genuine life. And this month, we're looking at bliss. Look at that. Like, imagine that being your inner self, your outer self, like really, really shouting and really, really enjoying the allness of your life. And people are like, oh, is that really possible? Especially now with everything that's happening in our world, that's happening in our country, that's happening in our states and our cities, in our towns, in our homes. Is that really possible? And, as recovering people, we try not to get too high or too low, right? Like, we really want to have great expectations that are reasonable and that we can actually deal with. Because, a lot of times they say, hey, if you have an expectation, you're going to be disappointed. But when it comes to something like bliss and joy and cheer, what I'm here to share with you is that it is an inside job. It's an inside job. Bliss, joy, cheer has nothing to do with the weather, has nothing to do with circumstances, has nothing to do with what's happening out there in our politics or with health and wholeness. It has nothing to do with anything external. But in fact, bliss and joy has all to do with this internal state of being and this internal state of our presence, of being present with the presence. And that is recognizing that right where you are, there is a power and a presence and a life that is living you. And that infinite power, that infinite intelligence, that infinite harmony, that infinite life is indeed joy. That joy is the quality of this power and presence that is within you. Now, part of what folks do in recovery is they find a higher power, or they begin to try to discover a higher power. And, with that, I I like to say that it's a discovery. That it is a discovery. It's almost like, all right, reveal yourself to me in a language and in a manner in which I understand. And that when we actually just kind of surrender to the possibility that there is an indwelling presence within each and every one of us, it is that life force, it is that life source, it is that life energy. And that as we begin to surrender to that, that what we actually find within us is bliss, is joy, because that is the quality of this power, of this presence, of this life that some people call God, that some people call higher power, the great reality. It's known by so many names. And yet, sometimes for some folks in recovery, whether you're in a program or not in a program, this is not about program itself. This is about recovering. And this is about finding the direction for your life that leads you to your greatness, that leads you to having your best life. So in search of this higher power, in search of this power and this presence, in search of this indwelling joy, this is what fatigues many folks in recovery. It's just like, really, is it really possible? Is this just, smoke and mirrors? But we'll talk about that, and it'll be the theme of our entire month. So let me talk to you just a little bit, or let me actually just read a couple of things from Bliss and Joy, an excerpt. It says, bliss and joy are our natural states of being. Within you, there is a wellspring of bliss and joy, just waiting to give way to a geyser of joy. This month, your daily practice will help you uncover your personal treasure chest of bliss and joy. Look, you're smiling already. Imagine that. Imagine that within you is all the joy, all the bliss, all the cheer that you have ever desired. That it is actually your natural state, but that it has been so covered up, maybe by drugs and alcohol and all of these intoxicants. Now, when I talk about sober and being sober, I'm talking about being free from intoxicants. And so for many of us in the audience, we may not have a problem with alcohol or drugs or things like that. But what are some of the other intoxicants that you are giving way to and that you're letting your life be distracted by, like sugar or food, overeating or undereating, or gambling or sex or shopping or stress? Or, are you addicted to your cell phone or social media? There's a lot of intoxicants outside of drugs and alcohol. And the issue is that when we allow those things to be weapons of mass distraction, we then do not pay attention to this indwelling presence, this indwelling life that is living us in each and every moment. And because we're distracted by all of those things, then, oh yeah, thank you, Michelle. Michelle says, yeah, part of the addiction is also the past, right? We can be addicted to the past, the story and the story and the story and the story. That's a great one. Thank you for bringing that up, Michelle. What are some of the other intoxicants in your life? Go ahead and type that into the chat right there, so that I can highlight you and I can, talk about it. But when we are distracted by these things, we can never truly find. What happens is here's the light of joy, or the flicker of joy, or the flame of joy. And that joy is then smothered. That flame, it's smothered, it's covered up by all of these things that are a distraction to us. And we can never, ever find them. We can never, ever find it because we have layer after layer after layer of things that are distracting us from our true self. So I wanted to also read the definition of bliss and joy. A feeling of pleasure or happiness. A feeling of pleasure or happiness. How is it that I can be alone in a room without a cell phone, without cigarettes, the past, without social media, without stress and gambling, sex, shopping, without all of those intoxicants, drugs and alcohol included, and still have this sense and this feeling of pleasure or happiness? It is actually at our core. And I don't know if you know that, and I don't know if you believe me or not, but by the end of the month, my goal is that twice a week, we're coming together, we're having these conversations, that you're getting into some spiritual practices, some simple tools, some spiritual tools that I'll be giving you and that we'll be practicing on a regular basis so that you can begin to uncover the bliss and the joy that is your life. So the definition of bliss and joy continues. It's like delight, having great pleasure, joyfulness, jubilation, triumph, exaltation, rejoicing, happiness, gladness, glee. I mean, I can go on and on and on. Exuberance, elation, euphoria, ecstasy, right? How many of you could use a little bliss and joy in your life, right? Yeah. And here's the deal is that, yes, we feel it and we sense it when we're in community and when we are with one another. But my goal is to really help you uncover that right where you are, that bliss and joy is here, right? Many folks is like, yep, I want some joy. I want some bliss. I want to feel that even when my bank account is low, even when my friends are not calling me. I want to feel bliss and joy. I want to be in my natural state. And that natural state comes from what one of my amazing mentors calls blissipline. Blissipline. And that's the other reason why, too, I use words and a play on words. So my mentor, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, calls it blissipline, because you will experience bliss when you begin to have a little bit of discipline in your life. But who wants discipline? Who wants to actually be a disciple or a follower of something without actually knowing what's at the end and what the prize is? But that's why he calls it blissipline, because by doing these few simple things over and over and over and over and over again, we begin to actually be the captain of our brain, of our body, and of our spirit. And we allow that life energy within us to actually reveal itself as us, in us, through us. It's been so covered that we don't really know who our true self is. We think we are the person on our ID cards, but our true identity is so much more than what's on our ID cards. That's why I call this a playbook for living your genuine life, because who wants to work, right? But if we begin to see this as we're playing, we're engaging in a play-by-play, and even for those of you who love sports, right? When you have a playbook, it's just like, here's the strategy on how to win. And this is exactly what the book provides. So I'm going to invite you to go ahead and go on Amazon and pick up the book, or, shoot me a DM and I will, make sure that you get one in your mailbox. And I'll even autograph it for you. Now, here's the deal, is that these spiritual practices, for me, the word spiritual means life affirming. Okay, so these are life affirming practices. And if you're someone in recovery, you know that it takes practice and practice and practice on a daily basis to stay sober, to stay clean, to stay free from intoxicants. It is a daily practice until it then becomes a way of life. It's kind of like when you were a kid and you were brushing your teeth. You had to practice and practice and do it over and over again. And now it's a way of life, right? It's a way of living and being. Thank you, Kim. Kim is asking for the name of the book. It's Begin Within, a playbook for living your genuine life. And so part of these tools include affirmations, include meditation, which we're going to do in just a few moments. It includes, free flow writing. It includes education, educating ourselves, taking in spiritual food, meaning life affirming food. It means having and being in fellowship with one another. And for right now, this is kind of one of the ways that we can be together. And so we might as well take advantage of it, right? So here's the affirmation for the month. And we'll be posting this on the Facebook page so that this way you can be with it and you can be with the photo until you get your book. The affirmation is, I ask, I listen, and the answers come from within. I ask, I listen, and the answers come from within. I find all the joy and happiness inside of me. I live my bliss, and it shows. I ask, I listen, and the answers come from within. I find all the joy and happiness inside of me. I live my bliss, and it shows. And so let's just take a moment to just go into the silence for a little bit. If you are at a place where you can actually just take about a good 10 minutes and just allow yourself to close your eyes gently. And if you're not in a place where you can totally close your eyes, you can keep your eyes wide open for this experience. Just simply cast your gaze upon something inspiring. Now notice that when you close your eyes or when you cast your gaze upon something inspiring, notice how automatically there's something that shows up. It's like this sense of calm, this sense of peace. And allow that to just expand a little bit. And now simply begin to bring your awareness to your breathing. You might even tell yourself, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Now, in this calm and receptive state, notice that there's already this existing contentment, this sense of all things are in order. I'm content. Everything is in divine order. Therefore, I am content. If you find that your thoughts are wandering off, just bring your attention right back to your breath, right back to the breathing. As a matter of fact, as you're breathing, feel the joy of each inhale and each exhale. Feel the joy of that inhale. And the exhale. Like, isn't there contentment right there? Isn't there joy right there? That you are breathing on your own in this moment. And if that don't bring you joy, if that's not a joyful experience right where you are, now also find the joy in that all day today, you didn't have to remind yourself to breathe. Like, you were breathing. That's just your natural state of being. Your natural state is to breathe in and to breathe out. So feel the joy of just breathing in and out. And gently now bring your attention to the way the blood flows through each organ, every function of your body. And you didn't have to remind yourself, oh yes, blood flow. So find the joy in that circulation is happening for you without you even commanding it to be so, that your life is so powerful that it is commanding the blood to flow, that every organ, every function, that everything is working, that when you eat and you take in the food, that there's this digestion that happens automatically. That's that infinite intelligence that is your life that's operating as you right now. Find joy in that. And it digests, and it also eliminates the ease and grace that you have in elimination. Find the joy in your hearing right now. Like, wait a minute, my ears are working. Not only can I hear sunshine, but I can hear all the cars and everything happening in the background, whether it's in my background or your background, that you can hear all of it. It's confirmation that you're alive. Find the joy right there. Like, that's something you could be happy about. And breathe in again. And find that joy and happiness inside of you. It's right there. It's right where you are. And whether you're able to find it right here, right now, or maybe later, start looking for it within you, not outside of you. Not because the weather is nice, I'm happy. But I'm happy. Oh, and by the way, the weather's beautiful. I'm happy. And oh, by the way, this is happening. I'm content. There's joy in my soul, in my spirit. And watch how much, when you focus on your bliss and your joy, the internal presence of the natural bliss and joy that comes from within you, from this wellspring, from this geyser that's what starts to happen is that you notice a little bit, and before the end of the month, you will notice that it is a geyser of just joy that is coming from you out into the world. People are going to actually begin to call you Bliss and Joy. They're going to think that's your name, Michelle. They're going to think that's your name, Kim. They're going to think that's your name, Kwalik. They're going to think that's your name, Barry. They're going to be like, whoa, check out the joy that just exudes from them. Yeah. And so take another breath. And whether you were able to locate your joy and bliss in this moment or not, just dedicate the time each and every day to just be in the quiet and the stillness, and to find the joy of breathing, to find the joy of eating, to find the joy of all your body functions, of seeing, of tasting, of touching. Find the joy. It's right there. It's right where you are. And now gently open your eyes and become acclimated with your space. And if you've had your eyes open and looking at something inspirational, I invite you too to just begin to look around you at the things around you that are also there for your joy and your bliss and your pleasure. It is already within you. So remember the affirmation. It'll be posted again on my page. I ask, I listen, and the answers come from within. I find all joy and happiness inside of me. I find all joy and happiness inside of me. I live my bliss, and it shows. I live my bliss, and it shows. So the next time you see Peggy Moore, she says, call me Bliss and Joy. Call me Bliss and Joy. Okay, Bliss and Joy. Know that you are loved and that you are valued. And please join me again on Monday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific as we continue on this topic of bliss and joy. And as we continue to uncover that right where we are, bliss and joy is. And remember, I see a world where clean and sober people are living their best life and loving it. So if that's you, continue to tune in, continue to know that you are loved and valued, and that I am here to provide spiritual tools and loving support for your personal growth. And if you're not someone in recovery, hang around and stay, please stay, because this has its benefits for all. And as we know, intoxicants come in all shapes and forms and sizes. And we can all benefit from having some spiritual tools for our personal transformation. Until the next time, know that you are loved. Bye for now.
Celebrate life. You celebrate your life. Celebrate the memories, the birds and the trees, the hugs and the kisses, the hits and the misses.
Don't wait till it's too late.
Don't wait till it's too late.
Love and appreciate.
Love and appreciate.
Show them that you care.
Show them that you care, and you'll always